Hello everyone and welcome back to Lotus Premier Education. My name is Amanda and I want to be your college tutor. So, if you are watching this video, you have probably been deferred from your early decision or your restrictive early action or your early action school. And I want to take a second to acknowledge two things. First, congratulations. A deferral is not a rejection. You are still in the application pool and you are still equally considered just as much as the regular candidates are. So it's still something you should be really proud of, and I do want you to acknowledge that accomplishment. Second, I do want to say I'm sorry. Deferrals are not what we're hoping for. Obviously, everyone wants good news. Everyone wants to be done with the process as soon as possible. So it is really important that you take a second to acknowledge both emotions. It's great that you're still considered. It isn't the news we were hoping for. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about what to do if you have been deferred, because a deferral is a continuation of the college process. So it means that your process continues and there are still other things that you need to send in. The first thing that you need to do if you've been deferred is take a second and take a deep breath. Think about everything you did right in the process. Think about the hard work that you put into your application. Think about the time that you spent getting to know that school. And just rest for a minute. Let it sink in. Then, after you've done that, you really want to think about what a deferral means and how you feel about it. This is an important next step because for some students, a deferral does not change how they feel about a school. They still really want to go there. It's still their number one, and we're going to act accordingly. For other students, a deferral does change how they feel about a school. There are some students who feel like if a school doesn't really want them right off the bat, they don't know how much they want that school anymore. And that is also a very valid way to feel. If you are in that second camp of students, you need to really look at your entire college list and make evaluative choices based on your new feelings. What is your new first choice school? Are you not sure? What is your second, third, fourth choice school? And how do we put equal time and investment into these other options? Once you have determined how you feel, it's now time to take next steps. There are two big things that you should really consider as your immediate next steps. Number one is from your own school, your high school, and number two is from the college. So the immediate next step that you need to take with the college that you have been deferred from is you need to actually really read the deferral letter. I can't tell you how many students see that word, realize that they're being deferred, and then close their laptops. And like I said, at the beginning, that's fine. But you need to open that letter back up relatively quickly and figure out what the school is asking of you. Many times when you are deferred, they will actually give you clear instructions on what they want to receive from you. This could be things like first semester grades, a new supplement. Yes, some schools have an entirely new supplement to fill out. They could ask you to check a box and say that you are still interested. They could also give you a list of things that you can send them, like a teacher recommendation letter or two, a new demonstrated interest letter, a revised resume. They'll often give you several things that they are willing to accept or look at in this new second phase of your process. And you do want to think about it as a second phase of your process. Now, on your high school side, you need to set up a time to talk to your high school admissions counselor as soon as possible. Now, you guys may know this, I'm an independent educational consultant. We have several college counselors on our Lotus team, and there's lots of wonderful things that we can do to help you in the admissions process. One thing that we cannot do is we cannot call a college on your behalf and find out why you were deferred. But your school college counselor can do that. One thing we can do on our side at Lotus is we can tell you to reach out to your school counselor and explain how to do that and what best to ask. Now, most students and families don't know this, but a school counselor can call on your behalf. They can try to get information about your application, like a reason about why you were deferred or what the school may be looking for. And they can also advocate for you. They can call a school and they can say that you're a great candidate, give some specific examples of what you've done for the high school, and express your interest. So let's talk about this for a second. If a school counselor calls a college and tells that college that you are very likely to attend, a college will often really take that seriously. Why? Because the school counselor has insider information in their conversations with you. Now, that being said, you want to make sure that you're really truthful with all parties involved. Your college counselor at school will usually only call one college to express your interest. If they do that, not all counselors are willing to take this step. So if your school counselor calls on your behalf, you want to make sure that you talk to them about two things. Number one, see if they can figure out why you were deferred in the first place, because this will often help you figure out what to put in your deferral packet. Number two, do you want them to express your interest to the college? And that's something to really seriously consider beforehand, because your school counselor will not call more than one school to say that you are likely to attend. So those are the first things to do in the case of a deferral. Let's just recap that so we're all on the same page. Number one, you want to make sure you really read your deferral letter and listen to the college. And if they tell you what to send those things. If they tell you not to send anything, don't send anything. They're being serious. Number two, set up a meeting with your school college counselor and see what they can do on your behalf. Are they willing to call the school and ask why you were deferred or gather more information on your application? Are they willing to call the school and let them know where your interest stands? Those are very important things to figure out. Once you get those two things completed, it's now time to revisit your college list as a whole. Something you want to keep in mind. A deferral has no guarantees. You are not more or less likely to get into a college regular because you were deferred. You are now just in the regular pool. So yes, you have another chance at that school, but you still really need to make sure that you are looking at all of your colleges on a broader scope and giving a good amount of those colleges your full interest, because you don't have a commitment to this school anymore, you don't have a promise to this school, and you need to make sure that you are really strategizing your application. Now, I want to talk about something I just said. You don't have a commitment to this school anymore. Once you are deferred into the regular pool, especially if you are coming from early decision, your early decision agreement is released. So, several students will now start looking at something called Early Decision 2, which will allow you to commit to a second school. But it's really important that you pay attention to what those commitments mean. If you are accepted to an Early Decision 2 school and you are later accepted regular from the school you were deferred from, you are still bound to go to your Early Decision 2 school, even though you were later accepted to what was once your ED1 school. Colleges take these applications very, very seriously. So you cannot make commitments and then later pull back on them. It's important that you understand all of the obligations around these commitments before you apply. I would highly encourage that you have a serious conversation with your parents, your school counselor, your independent college counselor, your essay tutor, whoever has really been on your team throughout this whole college admissions process, and figure out what your plan is going to be if you are deferred. Because, as we talked about in the beginning of this video, it doesn't always feel great to be deferred. And it's hard to make important decisions in the very short window between being deferred and when regular applications are due. So make sure that you have a plan in place in the case of a deferral before you begin hearing back from schools. Lastly, if you are deferred, you really want to think about demonstrated interest to all of your colleges. So let's talk a little bit about what this timeline is going to look like. Students start hearing back from their early decision, their early action, and their restrictive early action schools, usually between December 1st and latest early January. But for the sake of this video, let's talk about December 1st to December 20th. Regular decision applications and early decision 2 applications are all due right at the beginning of January, usually January 1st to January 5th. That leaves you at most a 20-something day window to really figure out the rest of your application plan. You do not want to leave a bunch of supplemental essays to complete. You don't want to leave a lot of applications to complete. You do want to make sure you have a strategy in place. And then once all of your applications are in at the beginning of January, you want to make sure you really think about the demonstrated interest that you have done at each of these schools. Oftentimes, students will put so much focus and attention on their early decision school or their restrictive early action school that they won't do enough demonstrated interest at some of their other schools. That time period between early January and latest mid-February, you should be really doing one final demonstrated interest push at the schools that you're interested in. Email your admissions officers, do virtual tours, send your first semester grades. Make sure the schools know that you're interested and that you are trying to research the school as much as you can. We have several videos about demonstrated interest and about yield rate, which you can find on our channel. We're also happy to answer any questions that you may have about how to appropriately show demonstrated interest, because as always, it is not appropriate to send too many emails to admissions counselors. It's not appropriate to be doing certain things outside of the normal process. So if you have any questions on that, you're welcome to drop them in the comments below. We'll always get back to you guys, or we'll make another video. You're welcome to contact us directly and ask. And we promise to get back to you shortly, because these questions are really important for your college admissions strategy. So thanks so much for watching this video. We hope it was helpful. If you are deferred, stay positive, stay enthusiastic. Really make sure that you continue the process with your full energy and enthusiasm, because the process is continuing. This is an extension of your college application journey. If you have questions, please comment them below. Please subscribe to our channel. It is so important that you guys subscribe so we can continue getting this important college information out there into the world. Thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate all of you, and we'll see you back here soon on Lotus Premier Education. Bye, guys.